A proposed agreement between the United States and Iran could allow Tehran access to around $6 billion of its frozen assets, currently held in Qatar, according to the report by the Wall Street Journal, citing people familiar with the matter. The development is being seen as part of a broader efforts in order to reduce tensions between Washington and Tehran and revive stalled diplomatic engagement linked to regional security and nuclear negotiations. The funds in question originally come from Iranian oil sales and were earlier held in South Korean banks. And all these assets were transferred in 2023 into restricted accounts in Qatar as part of a prisoner swap arrangement between the United States and Iran. However, access to the money was later frozen again following the October 7 Hamas attacks and the subsequent escalation of conflict across West Asia, which significantly worsened regional tensions. And under the proposed framework reported by WSJ, Iran would be allowed to access the $6 billion in phases over an extended 60-day ceasefire-linked negotiation period. However, the money would not be freely usable. It would be strictly limited to humanitarian and non-sanctioned purchases, including food, medicine, and other essential goods, with a significant portion expected to be sourced from the United States. The arrangement is designed to ensure that the funds do not contribute to military or restricted activities. Officials familiar with the talks said that the phased release would also depend on Iran's behavior during the negotiation process. Washington is reportedly seeking assurances that Tehran will demonstrate what it calls appropriate behavior, including cooperation on issues related to its nuclear program and stockpiles of enriched uranium. The plan also links further easing of restrictions to broader progress in talks, including conditions related to regional stability and maritime security. The proposed deal reportedly includes additional geopolitical conditions such as progress on reopening key trade routes like the Strait of Hormuz, which remain strategically vital for global energy shipments. And any movement towards reopening the waterway and stabilizing maritime trade is expected to be tied to Iran's compliance with the negotiation terms. There are also reports that Iranian officials are expecting access to a much larger amount, with some estimates suggesting up to $12 billion could be released during an interim period if talks advance. Broader estimates indicate that Iran has approximately $24 billion in frozen assets held across multiple countries, including China, India, Iraq, and Qatar, all restricted under various international sanctions regimes. And the issue of frozen Iranian assets has become increasingly sensitive in United States domestic politics. President Donald Trump has defended the idea of limited easing of restrictions, stating that any financial relief would remain conditional on Iran's compliance with the terms of a broader agreement. He has also argued that the funds ultimately belong to Iran, though they were frozen under sanctions, and the current framework being discussed is a part of a wider negotiation process involving sanctions relief, regional security guarantees, and nuclear-related commitments. Analysts say that if implemented, the arrangement could ease pressure on global energy markets, improve Iran's economic situation, and potentially reshape trade and diplomatic dynamics across West Asia. Iranian officials have also confirmed that discussions over frozen assets are part of the ongoing negotiations. And according to Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail, the release of frozen funds and compensation for damages are key elements of the talks. And the United States has reportedly committed to addressing all these concerns during the process. Negotiations over the Qatar-held funds reportedly begin in late May, and with Iranian parliamentary officials holding discussions in Doha regarding possible mechanisms for the phased access. The assets were originally moved under a U.S. sanction waiver during the Biden administration in order to allow humanitarian spending, but were frozen again after renewed regional tensions escalated. While the proposed agreement is still under negotiation and has not been finalized, it is being closely watched as a potential precedent for the future release of additional Iranian assets and as a possible step towards broader diplomatic engagement between Washington and Tehran. That's all for now. Stay tuned to the Savera for more updates. Do like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.